long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. That opening line kickstarted my favorite sci-fi franchise, Star Wars. What started as a movie named Star Wars, but it was adapted as a response to making the original trilogy. The movie was released in 1977, and it was written and directed by George Lucas. The film was his inspiration that got a lot of people interested in the sci-fi genre. Many people may not know this, but I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Books, movies, t-shirts, you name it. Even though I found the franchise's lore interesting to look at and itching to know more about it, the truth is I am not a total nerd about the franchise, mainly because of the Disney canon making things complicated to understand. And there are other franchises that I am keeping an eye on for a while. My first introduction to the franchise was the Attack of the Clones prequel film. I remember falling asleep in the movie theater during the showing at that time, because I was too young to understand any of it. But it was the 2D Clone Wars TV series that aired on Cartoon Network back in the day that ultimately got me interested in the expanded universe. Lately, I've been catching up with the Legends collection of novels, which I ended up enjoying more than I should. As of late, however, I haven't caught up with most TV series and video games within the franchise, mainly because of schedule conflicts, including my screenwriting class online at Udemy. Seriously, I would recommend that for those who are interested. To look for the best Star Wars game, I decided to start with the predecessor to the video game that I am already familiar with. Today's game was developed by Pandemic Studios, the same gaming company that is responsible for the Destroy All Humans games, mainly with 1 and 2. And it was also developed by LucasArts, the same publisher who also published both Indiana Jones and the Monkey Island games. But the big question is, does it deserve enough praise to earn a victory? Or does it become an embarrassment and end up being defeated? To find that answer, I'll be looking at the PS2 version, since the game was also released on different consoles at the time, mainly with Xbox and PC. Prepare for battle, because this is my review of the original title, Star Wars Battlefront. The story here was divided into 2 time periods, the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War, respectively. While the story is focused on the soldiers' point of view carrying out their orders, one world has been introduced in anticipation for Revenge of the Sith, the third and final film of the prequel trilogy. The goal of this game is simple: capture all command posts in the battlefield or wipe clean the opposite team's reinforcements to win a match.
Their reinforcements are being depleted.
In some matches, the planet's citizens hold their command posts to make things more interesting.
The Separatists have cut off our reinforcements. Our saboteurs have damaged their vehicles. Count Dooku has entered the battlefield.
They can either help you fight an enemy you're facing, causing a scene like no one's business, or stand their ground, siding with no one. The basic version is, it's the Star Wars edition of Capture the Flag, but with a few key differences. In each team, there are 5 trooper classes to choose from, each different than the regular trooper class. While most sides have their usual heavy artillery, snipers, and pilots, there are several trooper classes that I can appreciate. Both the Jet Trooper and the Death Trooper can hover over the battlefield for a short time, while the Droidekas and Wookiees are tough to take down, each with traits of their own. In some battlefields, vehicles can help the player get the winning edge. However, the heavy troopers are the only ones capable of taking them down. If the pilot trooper takes control of a certain vehicle, they can fix the aircraft while flying, like its own healing factor. Despite a few complaints with some of them, most of them are useful maneuvers against the enemy. In most worlds, there are 2 battlegrounds to land on, while some worlds only have 1, mainly for story concept reasons. there are some fields that can give you a hard time, especially with the opposite team you wish to battle with. But if you know your way around the area, you'll be able to grab an easy victory under your belt.
Take cover!
There is a multiplayer section in this game. Based on what I understand from the Classic Collection re-release, from several other YouTube videos that I've seen, there are servers that players can join in and have a good time. However, I've been told that the re-release of that game did a horrible job with the servers, despite some other issues that the collection suffers from. I'm not going to take my chances by taking a donkey cake at the knapsack and ignore people, just for the sake of one's nostalgia. But I think the announcement trailer already did that to people who have played this before. There's also a co-op gameplay feature allowing you to play with a friend or two.
We've captured a command post.
In the historical campaign, players can relive the memories of most of the Star Wars films. I have numerous memories of the prequel trilogy growing up, so seeing the Clone Wars era again was a nice adjustment. But to most, the memories of the original trilogy still lingers around the Galactic Civil War. Then again, it's the same saga that we've seen before. In Galactic Conquest, this is where things have finally picked up towards excitement beyond belief.
Their reinforcements are being depleted. We've sabotaged their vehicles. They're jamming our sensors.
Here, you choose a planet to attack first. Each world has its bonus, like elite training prepared for your army or sabotaging your opponent's vehicles. Each victory or defeat adds a point to a roster. If one battlefield is cleared on that planet, either one will lose access to a world's bonus, giving a disadvantage on how you play the game. If either has 4 points, they'll automatically conquer a world of one's choosing. Clear all battlefields and you'll grant access to the enemy's base of operations. Unlike most maps, some, like Geonosis or Hoth, have story missions that have a great impact on their army or your own, depending on the circumstances. These missions have the same objectives in the historical campaign and the instant action modes too. Speaking of instant action, you can choose any map you want and any team you pick, whether in order or at random. Either you want to be better at the game or want to battle your friends and have a good time, that's entirely up to you. When completing a battle in the historical campaign, you'll unlock still photos from the movies and concept art in the making of the video game, which is an interesting feature to have. When being a Galactic Conquest, the remaining 4 conquest modes have become available for you to try. Picking the best world in this game is no contest. I enjoy Ren Var because this is the original world specifically made for Battlefront. It has a good texture, the level design is on point, and a great opportunity to use the troopers with a gliding trait. Just be careful with the Death Trooper's jetpack, otherwise it's either the wrong direction towards a bottomless pit or a blaster bolt to the face. At first I was gonna pick Endor as the worst world in the game, but the main reason not to is because of the Ewok's assistance, making the gameplay less stressful, which is more than I can say about Hoth. This is easily the worst world in the game for me. Not only do the speeders never work, but the environment was too massive, making the experience less fun. The only saving grace is the re-presentation for Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, which is a necessary step on the developer's part. A creative team like Pandemic Studios took a good amount of time and effort to capture some important moments from the Skywalker saga and make them unique. They didn't want to complicate things to a certain point, yet the developers kept it simple enough and made a game that can be enjoyed. The following year, in 2005, they managed to keep what worked and improve things that didn't work in the form of a sequel, Battlefront 2. There were going to be multiple sequels in the series under a different development team, while adding a new feature, allowing players to engage into space combat and enter the selected planet with ease. Due to the cancellation, however, the same inspiration was later adapted into Elite Squadron, developed by Rebellion Developments. I don't blame those people whose plans didn't go the way they wanted. Even though we know the story of the saga by now, the Galactic Conquest adds more variety and originality to the game. It may be even better than the story campaign here. I understand that they're trying to retell some important events, even adding some new ones at the time, but the thing is, some other developers, like Traveler's Tales, did the same thing with their games too back in the day. As much as I want to praise this game for all it's worth, which I normally would, there are several mistakes that this game suffered a crushing blow from. That included some of the aircraft that were displayed in some areas. The opportunity for airborne arena control felt like a loose cannon that has been gone off. But in larger areas, they are acceptable and easy to use with no problems. And speaking of control, the troopers' movement capability didn't live up to what I remember from the last time I played this game. Despite the crawling movement, which is perfect for snipers, there is no running feature, which is a major blow for me. By the time I got to a command post, the opposite team have already claimed it, and I had to fight back to take the command post again. I know that's supposed to cause tension, but some part of me was biased towards Battlefront 2. In some ways, I felt somewhat underappreciated because of it. I know Revenge of the Sith was supposed to be released a year before this game came out, but the developers thought that they could tease a new world for the film's upcoming release at the time. It was unnecessary. I get why they do that, but why go through the trouble of building up the hype when you battle clankers on Kashyyyk? At the time, it was a weak anticipation. But when Episode 3 hits the theaters back in 2005, it built a much better reception and understanding at the Wookiee homeworld. Where to begin with this one? The biggest mistake that this game has caused is the unavailability to play is either a Jedi or the Sith. Back in the day, that still ticked people off, and it still does. I think that is the main reason why people moved to Battlefront 2. Aside from the obvious reason, the main problem is that even with the Jedi or Sith on your side, they barely do anything on the battlefield, whether you battle them or aid you, depending on the situation. The original Battlefront became more of a disappointment afterthought, but it managed to barely hold on to a sense of nostalgia for those who enjoyed the films themselves. The familiar vibes from the movies are the only reason why this game is successful, but it wasn't enough for me to be won over. At the end of the day, it felt like a hollow victory. I know it's harsh for me to say that, but that's what I honestly felt. Judging this as a game for teenagers, it's only a decent game to pass for nostalgia's sake. Hardcore fans of the franchise would find this one enjoyable to play and easy to complete without any hassle.
Victory is imminent.
Oh man, I know I'm getting a lot of hate on this one. But hey, I know it feels like I'm being a busted clanker here, but here's the truth. People are still enjoying this game, but most would move on like everyone else should be doing, because people are expecting improvements over what is previously shown. For them, it's only a cornerstone of something better, and Pandemic Studios proved that. I felt the same way as everybody else, but in the end, Pandemic Studios adapted to make something far exceeded fans' expectations. I appreciated that development team from learning their mistakes and improving what was damaged.